We back at it like Torah addicts out of rehab. Yabraka Kamihawa Basham Mashakal Shai. This is your brother Karatazaya Banya Sha'ala. And I will not be paying attention to views. How many people are viewing? What I will be paying attention to is if my family was obedient or disobedient. All those that are from the house of Karatazaya that are that dedicated their lives to me, that gave themselves to me in the covenant, they are commanded to be on my videos. And the reason being is because the majority of those women have my children. So if they have my children, then if you are watching and if you're of the house of Karatazaya, which I personally believe is a blessed thing to have a child for me, I think it's pretty cool to have a little Karatazaya, right? You know, but I also think it's even better to raise that little Karatazaya in respect and honor and love and reverence to his father. So the reason I tell my family that they have to be on is because once they are on, then they are not only obligated to continue to watch, but also that their children, their fruit, my seed, that they may hear the words of truth from their father's mouth. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get this started. I've given direct instructions from the house of Karatazaya to teach. Thank you for everybody rocking with us. The water, everybody for keeping the law, statutes, commandments. Thank you for all the beautiful, loving children of Israel. Their own personal lives. So I did a video earlier, and the video earlier was on encouragement to tell everybody that even if it's the Shabbat, to not be sad. Unfortunately, the two people who I know that the two people Kwame Ashala, we back at it. All right, so you got to get into this mind state where you utterly refuse to let foolery, wickedness, or evil spirits, man, like just dictate you. One of the elders hit me up, and I was telling the elder, I was like, yo, elder, this is what I'm going through, man. I've had people say, I'm sorry to you for the loss of your grandchild, but I'm going to be really mean to you. I've had people say, yo, I'm sorry that your father passed away, but I'm going to be a butt head to you. And it's like, there's nothing we can do about it. So Yashala, there's going to be more deaths. There's going to be more lives that's going to be born. There's going to be more children that are going to be made. So it's up to us, especially ye men of Israel, to hold your pose, man. And to water to Shatar, Yahawashai, Yabarakah, Yahawah, Basham Mashak. Matter of fact, we say Yabarakah, Yahawah, Basham Mashak, Yahawashai, to Shatar, Yahawashai. I greatly appreciate you, man. I had a really rough morning. Like after I did the first video, I just went through like a barrage of BS. And it's understandable. My son will now come to serve you. How will prepare thy soul for temptation? The part that I regret is that, you know, there's not enough compassion. When we look at our old grandmothers, our old grandparents, like they were really compassionate. They were compassionate when it came to children. They were compassionate when it came to everything pertaining to each other, because that was the first and the second greatest commandment. Love Yahweh, your power with all your heart, your soul, your might, and love your neighbor as yourself. So those that are showing that they don't really love their neighbor as themselves, they're only showing that they don't really love the Most High because they're not keeping the two greatest commandments. I refuse to be upset today. I refuse to be, I'm going to be hurt just like you're going to be hurt. But I encourage you, Israel, share this video out. Hit that share button, hit that like button, hit that link button, whatever button, because we're going to teach the law, statutes, commandments of the Most High. All right. Nobody's going to discourage me or hurt me to the degree. Nobody's going to call me bad names and all this stuff to the degree to where I'm going to stop doing the Most High's commandment, because it's only been Him that's been keeping me and keeping you and keeping us all. So with that being said, you can tell when somebody is fake because they don't do the spiritual aspects of the Most High. All right. And that applies to a male or a female. You can tell when somebody is fake because they're not spiritual. They're just carnal as heck. They're super carnal. So I won't be paying attention to views. I won't be paying attention to numbers. What I will be paying attention to is my own spiritual growth. And I'm going to encourage everybody else to do the same. Moses said, beware of thine own soul. All right, let me pull that up real quick. All right, I'm going to go to Deuteronomy real quick. All right, and yes, I'm going to be doing everything on the screen. Deuteronomy chapter 4. All right, and the saddest part for me is that you can tell these scriptures to people all day, but if they don't want to do them, it's like, man, it's their own soul. I've noticed women and men that just want to make people sad, that just want to make people miserable because they're miserable, you know. But we got to be greater than that. All right, we got to be the ones who Matthew chapter 5. And I think that's why I like using a laptop, because sometimes my brain works very fast. Okay. My brain works so fast that I've noticed that it agitates people. I've noticed that just my genuine sincerity agitates people because they're really, really miserable for themselves. But we can't allow ourselves to be sad. All right. You can't allow yourselves to be sad just because somebody else is. All right. So today for me, tomorrow for thou. Tomorrow for thou, today for me, you know, and vice versa. So let's get this real quick. So Deuteronomy chapter 4 and Deuteronomy chapter 4, and we're going to get started on this Torah portion reading, but we also want to give time for people to come in. Aliyah Shabbai, Shalom. Hey, Faithful Maple. Yahweh Shamar Latha, thank you for your comment. Greatly appreciate it. Man, love ain't hard, is it? It's super easy, man. The spirit of comparison, the spirit of variance, the spirit of greed, strife, the spirit of envy, the spirit of murder, all of these things go together. The scriptures tell you to not grieve a soul that's already grieving. So me, if I'm upset, like I'll speak my piece, but I don't want to speak my piece to hurt anybody. But I appreciate you, Aliyah Shabbai. Yes, and for those of you who don't know, favoritism is in the Bible. Jacob favored one of his sons, but then Jacob had other sons that had different malicious vibrations and spirits. So favoritism is in the Bible. It is not a wrong thing to use and operate in favoritism if you're a parent, a father, a child, a father. And the reason being is because the scripture says, there's one daughter that is better than the other. And a woman will receive every man. She don't care if it goes all the way up there or if it just goes right there. The scripture says a woman will receive every man, and there's one daughter that's better than another. All right. The scripture says a woman that dishonors her father and her mother, a woman that despises her father and her mother. No, a woman that is proud. All right. A woman that is proud will be despised by her father and her mother. Every attribute of looking at a woman, you learn about being sincere, being nice, being kind, being sweet, being generous, giving, not taking. All right. So, I had one of the beautiful elders of Mashiach Yasha'Allah. He said to me, he's like, dang, homie, can we have one court case that don't pertain to a woman? And it was like, nah, we can't. But usually if it's something that pertains to a man, you know, it's more than likely something violent. All right. So we don't want that. All right. So let me get this real quick. This is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 4. And I want y'all to pay very close attention to this because this is something that I have to do. Even I myself. OK. All right. So this is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 9. And I want y'all to pay very close attention to this. And the reason being is because this is what's going to help you. All right. This is what helped me. All right. I remember when I used to be a bad guy, you know, I would have, you know, whatever. I would do bad guy things, like bad person things. and I would feel like I would have no recompense, for the things that I did, but it just doesn't work like that. All right. You do have a recompense for the things you do. But now that I know this, it's helped me even more. So let me use this to share with you. And if you respect this ministry, if you care about me, if you care about the children of Israel, then put a number 7 in the room. If you're a selfish, bitter, just if you're a wicked Negro or a wicked female and you're watching, you don't have to put nothing in the room. But if you care about the Most High, then you care about your own personal feelings, then put a 7 in the room. I'm going to put a bunch of 7 as soon as I get a chance. The book of Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 7 and verse 9, and it reads this: only take heed to thyself and keep, look at this, look, keep thy soul diligently. Look, I can show you scriptures where it says the whorish woman is jealous of the married woman. The whorish woman is jealous of the woman who's honorable to her husband. And you can see that throughout every culture. So if you notice that these attributes may be inside of you, then maybe it's not time for you to hate on somebody. Maybe it's just time for you to change your own attributes. Watch this, Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 9. Only take heed to thyself and keep thy soul diligently, lest thou forget the things which thine eyes have seen. Unless you forget the good things that the Most High did for you. Unless you forget the fact that you could have died, but Yahweh allowed a whole child, human body to pass through you. Unless you forget the things that could have happened to you, but the Most High brought you out, whatever case it was. See? So the Most High says, only take heed to thyself and keep thy soul diligently, lest thou forget the things which thy eyes have seen, and lest they depart from thy heart all the days of thy life, but teach them thy sons and thy sons' sons. You see that? So the Most High teaches you, especially you women of Israel, all right? Especially you men of Israel. Most High teaches us to teach our families the laws, statutes, and commandments. So with that being said, stay strong within this walk. Stay strong within this ministry. I know it's hard. It's discouraging. I don't have a $1 billion background and all that stuff. And I don't have a fly setting. I don't even have a logo. But you know what I know how to do? I know how to tell the truth. And that's why I found out a lot of people don't like me, because they found out I teach the truth. Like, I'll literally tell the truth even when you hurt my feelings. I'll be like, you're a jerk. You're really mean. And then I'll go and tell the truth. You know what? You're a really messed up individual. That was something somebody said to me one time. And when they said it to me, it absolutely hurt my feelings. You're a very messed up individual, Karatazaya. And when they said that, they didn't use no profanity. They didn't curse at me. They didn't say anything mean to me. They just told me what I was doing wrong. And that had enough impact on me to change me. And I say the same thing. I say the same prayer for you, that may the Most High change you. May the Most High help you. Because watch this. One day, you're Uncle O. Uncle O, One West, salute to you. I love you. May the Most High bless your household. I'm always happy to see you, King. All right. And then let me give respect to, and I know some brothers have their specific stance about certain elders or in certain regions, but let me say this. I think repentance is available for everybody. So I love certain elders whose names I don't need to say, but I do respect them because I've spoken to them. I do love them because they're of the same nation. You got some brothers that'll be like, no, just no. Me, I'm like, yo, it's possible. I'd rather let the foolery go down, and I'd rather let the foolery happen, and know that I was innocent. My hands are clean. I'd rather let that happen than to, just turn or be against somebody. So Thawada for the 7. So I got that put a 7 up in here from my brother Jacob, Mr. Hebrew 1. All right. Khan, yes. Sister Rashwan Rob, your poster being seen. All right. Thawada for asking. Akwath Aliyah Shabai, your poster being seen. All right. And you two sisters, make sure that your family and other families have this information. All right. Our families should be keeping a Shabbat together. The Most High told us to only separate. Listen to this, you men and women of Israel. The Most High only told us to separate for a certain amount of time, lest Hashatan tempt us for our incontinencies. And that means from us being together. All right. So all praise the Most High by Shema Mashiach Yahushai and Thawadi Hawa. I agree with you, little sister. All right. So we have a very special brother that's on here. His name is Odie1 Kenobi. I can't hold back my joy, man. The Most High sent you at a perfect time. I'm gonna tell you the truth, brother. I've been getting spiritually afflicted all morning, all day. It doesn't matter if you're hurt. It doesn't matter if people know you had a death in the family. They'll still pull and tear at you as much as they can until they can see the white meat showing. They can see you bleeding and broken down, and then they'll throw a brick on top of your head just to add the extra cake so they can feel better about themselves. And then they'll say, I'm sorry. I love you. Uncle O, I love you, Ak. I'm one of them brothers that just, I ain't with the bull. I ain't with the foolery. You seen me sincerely, brother. All right. I'll weep. I'll shed tears. I think it's better for me to cry than it is for me to exert myself in physical, energy. I think it's better for me to say, look, man, I love you. I think it's better for me to humble myself and bow down in front of you than it is to, behave disorderly. All right. So I can go into all kinds of subjects on that, but we're not going to do that. So for all of our mashbachayim, all of our family that's in the loo, all right, Yahoo to the loo, all right, Yahoo to the loo, foes to the world below, you already know what it is, all right. All right, I love you, family members. So for all you family members that's in the ST Hell, Baba Kushai, make sure y'all subscribe to my YouTube. Make sure you like, and make sure you help this ministry to grow. What we're going to do is we're going to read this week's Torah portion, and that's what the objective is, okay? I can go on and on, all right? All right, and we're just going to get started, man. All right. So let's get to it. So we're starting in the book of Exodus chapter 10, man. Ain't that crazy? The hurt can be there. The hurt can be real. And there's people that will kick you while you're already hurting. There's people that will say the most wicked things to you, and they'll make it seem like they're the victim. And I don't know what to do about this, but just to do what Moses said in Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 9, just beware of my own soul. All right. Beware of your own soul, Israel. All right. So let's get started real quick. I'm going to do a screen share, and I encourage y'all to share this about. If you're in the loo, make sure you let our family from the loo know that their brother from the order of Melchizedek, their brother from the army of Israel, all right, is streaming live. All right. I wish I could tell y'all where it hurts, but the hurt is so deep, I can't find it, because once I think I get to it, I got to dig past more levels of people hurting us until I can actually get to it. It's like, and it doesn't stop. So may Abrahamic curse come upon all those who hurt those who are already hurting and don't have no regard. May an Abrahamic curse come upon all those who don't have no compassion until the Most High breaks them down to the point to where they can. And listen, a lot of them are going to be old when they finally go through it. And that's the sad part. Because when you're old, you ain't going to have the help that you thought you had. And you're going to regret it when you're older. Somebody told me, they said, my eyes are tired. Your eyes are tired, but we still fine. I ain't going to stunt. My eyes are tired. My eyes are tired, and they hurt. And I've been crying, and I've been sad. And even in the afternoon, in the daytime, But I appreciate y'all, because we're the ones who are going to be, at least try to be obedient to the Most High. May the portion of a sinner fall upon. Let's get started. Y'all ready? So let's learn this week's Torah portion. We're going to start with the book of Exodus chapter 10. We're going to go to Exodus chapter 13, stopping at verse 16. Exodus chapter 10, starting at verse 1, and it reads, I'm going to turn this down. All right. I don't want to get flagged for playing somebody else's music in the background. All right. It's a great song. It's called Tell Me Where It Hurts and I'll Fix It. Some people don't want their hurt to be fixed. Some people want to wallow in their hurt, and then they want to blame you for their hurt. Those people suck. And I don't mean it in a good way. I mean, they just lemon-faced gorilla booty hole suck. And a gorilla booty hole, I imagine, ain't pretty. Never seen one. I'm not really interested in it. But let's get back to this. The book of Exodus chapter 10, verse 1. Man, I got to turn that song down, man. The song made me cry. I ain't going to stop, man. You know, bring me your hurt and I'll fix it. How many of the daughters of Israel are saying that? They're saying, nah, bring me your hurt so I can make it worse. But you do have some that are saying, I'll take your hurt and I'll take mine, and I still love you. So salute to you, daughters, and may the Most High bless and reward you for your actions. You don't always got to tell a person that's doing right that they're doing right. You know, sometimes you need to tell the person that's doing wrong. Sometimes you need to tell the person that's doing wrong. Sometimes you need to tell them, hey, good job, so they can keep going. But the one that's doing right, sometimes you don't always need to commend them. It's the story of the prodigal son's brother. Learn about the prodigal son's brother. All right, so let's get to this. Exodus chapter 10, verse 1. Y'all ready? Let's read this good word that the Most High said. And also, this is the season that the Most High said it would happen in. All right. So we're going to start with the book of Exodus chapter 10, verse 1. If you cannot read right now, we will read to you. And you have a screen directly in front of you, so we will be doing a read along. I learned this principle from Malachi Maccabee, all right, from Maharka, all right, from the order of Melchizedek, and from Jeremiah. All right, Yah World 777, which is also known as the House of Redeemed Servants. So Yah World 777, Order of Melchizedek, which once again, one West salute to the Order of Melchizedek. We were able to get this subscription because the Order of Melchizedek actually sent a donation, not actually, but wonderfully sent the donation that helped us get this ministry back running. And then also from the Army of Israel, you know, AOI, you already know what it is. I've been rapping with AOI for a long time. Once I get into the studio again, I'm going to drop some fire. I haven't been in the studio for a minute, but once I do, I'm going to drop some tracks. I'm going to talk about everything the Most High puts on my heart, and I'm probably going to use a little bit of profanity because sometimes you got to say certain things a certain way to get your point across, and I learned that from Uncle O. All right, look. I don't care what none of y'all niggas talk about. That's not a great impression of Uncle O, but you know what I mean. All right, so let's get to this. So this is the book of Exodus chapter 10, starting at verse 1. Let's learn this week's Torah portion, and may the Most High bless you all, keep you all, make his face shine upon you all for learning the Most High's laws, statutes, commandments as a community. All right, so Exodus chapter 10, starting at verse 1. And if you've been keeping up from the Torah portion, we're seeing that the Most High started to deliver us out of Mount Sinai. He started to deliver us out of Egypt. He started to bring in the plagues on America. I mean, Egypt. Because as it was, so shall it be. So remember, the same punishment that came in the past is going to be the same punishment, except this time it's going to be harder. Exodus chapter 10, starting at verse 1. Let's read. And Yahweh said unto Moshe, go unto Pharaoh, for I have what? I have hardened his heart. Why didn't I read this earlier? That's what I'm going through. So I'm dealing with Israelites who have hardened hearts. Wait a minute. Let me stop right there. If you're watching and if you cannot relate to this, if you have witnessed anybody in your life right now have a hardened heart, it seems like they should be tender, gentle, soft, meek, diligent, kind, sweet. If you've noticed anybody throughout your week, not my week, but throughout your week, if you noticed anybody throughout your week that's had a hardened heart, put a 3 up in the room. Let me see. Okay, that'll be my number 3 for the week. So with that being said, we have some people in our lives right now that have hardened hearts. And that's what the issue is. Their hearts are hard. How are you a woman of the Most High? How are you a male of the Most High? But your heart is like a stone. Your heart should be soft. It should be gentle. It should be tender. It should hurt whenever you hurt somebody else's feelings. It should bruise you whenever you found out you bruised somebody else out of your own mouth. Exodus chapter 10, starting at verse 1. And Yahweh said unto Moshe, go unto Pharaoh, for I have hardened his heart. And look at this. And the heart of his servants. Look at this. So some of you people might be Hamites. Some of you might be Hamites and you got hardened hearts. Maybe that's how we can tell the wheat from the tares, because the children of Israel are soft and gentle and tender and meek. And the ones who have hardened hearts are really Gentiles and Hamites. That's possible. That I might show these signs before him. Verse 2. And that thou mayest tell in the ears of thy son and of thy son's sons what things I have wrought in Egypt. Remember that, Julie. All right. You have to teach me again how to say your name correctly in Hebrew. As long as I see your name as Julie Weiss, I will pronounce your name as that pronunciation. But once we see those things, we have to call those things into existence as if they were. My name used to be like Mr. Run the Streets. But when I wanted to be diligent, and then when I wanted to be like, no, I'm not diligent, but God is diligent, then I started calling myself Charwatazaya. Charwatazah means diligent, patient, long-suffering. Yah means Yahweh. My name means Charwatazaya, which means God is patient. So call those things into existence, sister from the northern kingdom. All right. Double honors to your father, double honors to your mother. And remember, Israel, it doesn't matter what our skin complexion is. It's who your father is. All right. So that's the point on what our nationality is. So salute to you, northern kingdom, double honors to your father and double honors to your husband. Watch this. And I pray that your family operates and comes into the truth just like you are. Don't leave your husband, and husband, don't leave her. The reason being is because neither one of you know when the Most High is going to use the other one to bring the other one to him. So don't leave your husband, sister, and brother. Don't leave your rib. Even if you think she off, don't leave your woman. All right. Exodus chapter 10, verse 2, that thou mayest tell them into the ears of thy sons. I'm supposed to be telling these words to the ears of my children right now, but unfortunately, I have very mean women that take my children away from me, that disrespect me, that don't play my words. It's so stupid because there's women that don't know me that would be like, I would love to have a child with you, Karatazaya. And I'm like, I'd like to have a child with you too. But I already have children that I have to currently raise, and their mothers won't teach them the words of Yahweh out of my mouth. Isn't that bad? If you think that's bad, put a 3 up in the room. Exodus chapter 10, verse 2. And that thou mayest tell them in the ears of thy sons. You see that? So men of Israel, we're to raise our children. And thy sons' sons. That's our grandchildren. I'm supposed to teach my grandchildren, my grandson. I'm supposed to teach my grandson the law, statutes, and commandments. What thing you are supposed to teach them, O men of Israel? What things I have wrought in Egypt, and my signs which I have done among them, that ye may know that I am Yahweh. Now let's stop right here real quick. The reason I like using Blue Letter Bible, and as y'all can see, I stopped at this verse, which is verse 2. We haven't made it very far, but we've made it very far. We're going to stop right here. We're going to turn up the temperature. We're going to use what's called the interlinear. Why am I saying Yahweh? Because if y'all notice, it's all caps right here. It is not Lord everywhere in the Bible. Sometimes it says Ath. Sometimes it says Yahweh. Sometimes it says Alahaya. But right here specifically, everyone should recognize what these 4 characters are. These 4 characters are so-called the Tetragrammaton. The Tetragrammaton is the name that's used, the title that's used for the Most High whenever it says Yahweh. It does not say Ahaya. It does not say Yahuwah. It says Yahweh. Yahweh. You pronounce these 4 characters together. And look at this. It says Hebrew, proper noun. Excuse me, Hebrew noun, proper name. You see that? So look, and we're going to go to the Strongs on it real quick. And this is why I like using Blue Letter Bible, because I can show you while I speak to you, while I edify, so you don't think it's my own words. Okay? So we're going to click on the Hebrew word, which is H3068. All right, H3068, which is what's the so-called Tetragrammaton. So whenever you see a word that's in Hebrew, like a phrase, sentence, paragraph, whatever, and it says, let me stop this because it's actually taking too long. All right, the laptop is going slower than my brain. You know, the brain is really a human computer, right? And then they make it seem like a computer's really fly. How much more of gods are we? The Most High said, ye are gods, but you will die like men. Right? You will die like the princes of the earth, all right? Yeah, right, doesn't that suck? Yeah. Shalom Malakah, all praise, Yahweh Shemalata. Greatly appreciate. All right, so, man, and don't worry, for you daughters of Israel, man, I've never understood why women would beg a man to be their husband, and then after they get him, they actually want to disrespect him. Like we could have been doing so many other different things in life, you know. Don't ever take a man's child, man, because you're gonna have to suffer the reward, the recompense. First of all, a child will always return to his father. Well, a female even after she's been hurt, she'll return to her father. All right. Preferably no daughters of Israel will be ever hurt. But even when the son is hurt, it don't matter what venom the woman spews, the child will always return to his father because the Most High said so. All right. Sirach chapter 3. And I'm a reader of the Bible. Like, I literally believe the Bible. All right. So no, thank you, TikTok. I tried to do TikTok. I tried to do the whole, I'm going to do a video, or I'm going to teach. It didn't work. It's not for me. I'm going to try it again though. All right. There's a beautiful brother that's doing it, and I respect and salute him. So watch this. Let's get back to this real quick. We're in the book of Exodus chapter 10, verse 2. Whenever it says capital L, capital O, capital R, capital D, that's when you know it's the name, the proper name, Yahweh. All right. So it doesn't say Lord everywhere. Sometimes it's Yahweh. So you have to know how to recognize it so you can be able to speak properly. All right. Not only that, so you can be able to teach properly. Verse 3, Exodus chapter 10, verse 3. Let's see what it says. And Shalom, Shalom, Kol HaYeladim, Shalom, Yeladim, children of Israel. Shalom, all my beautiful Yeladim. I look forward to making more little brothers and sisters for you. All right. Exodus chapter 10, verse 3. And Moshe and Aaron, came unto Pharaoh and said unto him, Thus saith Yahweh, Elohim of the Hebrews, how long wilt thou refuse to humble thyself before me? Let my people go. Look, that they may serve me. And that's the whole point. We're supposed to be serving Yahweh, not serving ourselves. All right. Else, if thou refuse to let my people go, behold, tomorrow I will bring locusts into thy coasts. Verse 5. And they shall cover the face of the earth, that one cannot be able to see the earth. And they shall eat the residue of which is escaped, which remaineth unto you from the hail. Because why? The hail was the last curse. And it says the residue that remaineth because so many men, women, children, and animals died from the hail. Now, I've already given the word that my family does not have the permission to read the book of Jasher during this time frame pertaining to the plagues. I got some disrespectful family members who do not follow my instruction, and that just sucks because sometimes you have disrespectful children. Who's proud of a disrespectful daughter? Who's proud of a disrespectful son? Who's proud of a disrespectful woman? All right. So even though I've given my family permission to not read this book yet, I'm going to say this. If you do read the book of Jasher, which my family doesn't have permission to without my tutelage, I will teach you and show you so you'll be correct. You know why? Because the scripture says wisdom puffeth up a man. And I know some people that get puffed up. And once they get puffed up, they think they be right and they be super stupid wrong. And then they end up looking dumb, but they're so proud that they can't admit that they're wrong. So with that being said, it's better if my family doesn't read the book of Jasher during this season, this time frame, because it can get very confusing and you have to be able to prove what you read. And if you can't prove it, it's better to not even deal with it sometimes. Okay. So with that being said, in the book of Flavius Josephus is the safest place. The Torah is the safest place. But I would encourage to read these curses, these plagues that the Most High is going to bring. And y'all be careful because maybe the Most High is going to bring these plagues upon you. All right. So with that being said, if you read Flavius Josephus, you will see that these curses did happen. They are real. The Egyptians wrote about them. The other nations, the Greeks wrote about them, but you can't prove it from certain documents. And that's why, you know, I'm like, well, hold off for right now. The book of Exodus chapter 10, verse 5, it tells us that they, which are the locusts. Now you can't stop locusts. One locust you can smash. 15 locusts, you may have a little bit of trouble with, but 100 locusts, you finished. Here's the other thing about the locusts that the Most High is going to send. The Most High is going to send locusts in the book of Revelations, chapter 9, that are going to be worse than the locusts that he sent during the old times. All the plagues and the darknesses and the curses and stuff that he sent from the past time, they're going to be worse when they send them this time. And we're going to live through them. We're going to experience them. But if we do right, if we be orderly, then the Most High will preserve us from them. He'll protect us. And that's what I want. I feel so sorry for my own bad family members that are going to have to go through bad stuff because of their own mouths, because of their own actions. But I also feel sorry for those who I don't know that's going to have to go through them. So ye men of Israel, try to protect yourself first. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 9, beware of thine own soul. And then after you beware of your own soul, try to protect your children. And don't be amazed if your children betray you. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 9 is a very safe place. Okay, let's get back to this. Exodus chapter 10, verse 5. And they, the locusts, shall cover the face of the earth, that one cannot be able to see the earth. This means there's going to be so many locusts. And I don't know if you've ever seen locusts, but they're not really attractive. They're not. So the new locusts that's going to come, which are currently here, the new locusts that are going to come are going to look even more terrifying than these locusts. And they shall eat the residue which hath escaped, which remaineth unto you from the hail, and they shall eat every tree which groweth out of your field. And this is why Egypt doesn't have any life right now. Egypt is poo-poo caca trash. It's desert and pyramids that's been absolutely scraped. Okay. Exodus chapter 10, verse 6. And they shall fill, the locusts, shall fill thy houses and the houses of all thy servants and the houses of all the Egyptians, which neither thy fathers nor thy fathers' fathers have seen, since the day that they were upon the earth unto this day. And they, and he turned himself and went from Pharaoh. So who turned himself and went from Pharaoh? Masha did. Moses turned his back after he told them what the curses was that were going to come. All right, now I'm going to start screen sharing in a moment, but I want to show y'all something. All of this stuff is really easy to see, right? This is something that you can literally see right now, and I just typed it up. All right, I'm going to Google search now. I will like to tell y'all that DuckDuckGo is better than Google. Now watch this, because I'm going to just read it to you real quick, and then we're going to get back to the Torah portion. All right. So let's start a screen share real quick. Shalom, Lakah. Thank you for your salute. I just kept saying shalom. Thank you for your salute. All right, so look at this. Locusts all over the world. Look, this is all I did. I put in a Google search. Locusts all over the world. Look at this. In 2020, locusts have swarmed in large numbers in dozens of countries, including Kenya, Ethiopia, Uganda, Somalia, Ethiopia, India, Pakistan, Iran, Yemen, Oman, and Saudi Arabia. When swarms affect several countries at once in very large numbers, it is known as a what? It is known as a plague. Look at this. It is known as a plague. This was August the 7th, 2020, when this was added. Look at this. The biblical locust plagues in 2020, BBC Future. All right. British Broadcast Channel. This is a worldwide international media source. So for you to be wasting your time talking poo-poo caca, being a nini poo-poo head, nanny poo-poo, for you to be wasting your time being a jerk, the plagues are already happening all over the world. And if you think for 1 second the whole world is going to slow down because you want somebody to like throw a temper tantrum over you, listen, we're more concerned about that one sheep that's going over the ledge. My mother told me one time, she said, you're a shepherd, but even sheep headbutt you. Even a sheep, even your own sheep will bite you. I got a brother named George Logan, beautiful brother. George Logan said to me one time, he said, listen, brother, don't forget that the teacher always get the eraser thrown at the back of his head. I said, what? He said, you're the one turned around to the dry erase board. You're the one turned around to the chalkboard. You're the one writing down the scriptures. He said, but it will always be your students that will disrespect you the most. Man, that brother said that to me and my heart fell out of my chest. You know why? Because I knew that it was true, because I was currently going through it. This is taking longer than it's expected. I wanted to be able to share it, but I will not be doing that for my life. So I want you all to look this up. All you have to do is the same thing that I put in on your own Google search. All right, instead of going to something that won't be conducive to your spirit, look this up, because these things are real. They're happening right in front of us. All right. Okay, there we go. Look like something. Look at that. Look, you can't make this stuff up. Look at this. You see how big these things is? This is happening all over the world. Now, what are you going to do when this happens in Dayton, Ohio? What are you going to do when this happens in New York? What are you going to do when this happens in California and Michigan? What are you going to do when this happens in St. Louis? What do you look at these little Hamites is happy? They're like, dinner! Yeah, did God give us dinner? Which locusts are actually legal to eat. All right. It is not illegal to eat locusts. Locusts are legal to eat. All right. So you can see this for yourselves. Look, this is what they're having to do in order to try to keep these plagues down. And they think they're going to win, but they're not going to. Look at this. You see that? I'm not talking about the Hamite. I'm not talking about the Cushite, the Canaanite, because they do not look like Israelites. Look at this. You see what the locusts did? The locusts ate all of the corn. They ate all of the corn off of the head of corn. Now, let me show you this real quick. All right, because these same curses come here. The sucky part, IONS9KJVBLB. The sucky part about knowing this truth is that we have to actually live with it. Now, there's going to be some that's already knowing these things, that's already in the truth, and they're going to be aware of it, and they're not going to show any care. They're not going to share any concern. They're going to be stiff-necked. They're going to be hard-hearted, and that's what we just already read. We started reading about hard, and I don't know why I just didn't come to this conclusion earlier. They're hard-hearted. Their hearts are made out of stone. They don't have hearts of flesh. Look at this. Now, I don't believe and or teach that these are helicopters or airplanes from World War I or World War II. I believe that these are actually locusts that are going to come out the ground. And the reason being is because it says they're going to come out the ground. I've never seen a helicopter or an airplane come from out of the ground. So let's read this real quick. This is Revelation chapter 9, verse 2. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the furnace, as the smoke of a great furnace. And the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. Now, you got to show me a whole video where the sky is going to be terraformed, because I can show you a whole teaching where it says that Bill Gates is currently planning. You know what I hate? I hate being smart and being played like I'm stupid, and the people that know less than me want to talk to me like they know more than me, but I still got to be like, See, Moses did that. Yahushua did that. I mean, Yahushua used to cut him to shreds. Yahushua be like, how long must I suffer you? Watch this. Revelation chapter 9, verse 3. And it came to pass out of the smoke, and there came out of the smoke, look at this, locusts upon the earth. And look, and upon them was giving power as scorpions of the earth have power. Don't show me a picture of an airplane with the mouth on the front painted on it, because first of all, you'd have to prove to me that that airplane came from out of the earth. It came from out of a bottomless pit that smoke came from. Watch this. And then all you gotta do is go look up CERN. It's so stupid. Like, it just doesn't make sense that these things are real and right in front of us. Like, you don't got the faith to believe the Most High can do this again, but he did it before. Did the Most High send airplanes and helicopters before? No, he sent real locusts. Watch this. Revelation chapter 9, verse 4. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth. Look at this. You see that? The locusts last time, they ate the grass of the earth. Look at this. I've never seen these pictures before in my life. All right. Look, she's holding up her own corn. She's got 1. She's got 2. Maybe this is week 3. She's got 3 of them. All right. Look at that humongous Canaanite face. Now that's starting to make me think I had a baby with a Canaanite before, man. Now that I look at that face, you just might be a Hamite. All right. Man, that makes a lot of sense. Okay. So look at this. So look, so locusts don't eat flesh. Locusts are omnivores. Look at this. But in verse 9, chapter 9, verse 4, it says, now this is the new locusts that are going to come. And it was commanded of them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing. Let's go back to the picture. You see that? You see all that green? You better go and find out what locusts eat. Let's see this real quick. Farmers across East Africa had crops devastated by the desert locust, with millions facing acute food shortage in the second half of the year. You see that? So locusts don't eat people; they eat vegetation. So I don't care which one of your elders want to tell me that it's a helicopter. Bro, it's an airplane. And then the airplane was B-52 bombers, and they had mouths painted. I can show you a picture of a plane, and they thought that the people were men inside. I don't want to hear none of that because it doesn't add up. And it also shows me that you don't got the faith to believe that Yahweh has monsters on his earth, which we read last week, 2 weeks ago. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago that the Most High has the word that was used was noxious. Noxious. I got it right here. It was noxious creatures. Look at this. Look. Noxious creatures. You see that? Noxious creatures. All right. This was used in last week's Torah portion, if not the week before. All right. And then when you go and look up what noxious creatures are, it's monsters. They're literally creatures. I'm not so small-minded. And I'm going to call you small-minded if you just can't see it. I'm not so small-minded to think that the Most High can't do whatever he wants to do, or he has creatures that are already in reserve waiting for you. Watch this. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, and neither any green thing, neither any tree. Look at this. But only those men which have not the seal of Allahiyah in their foreheads. Verse 5. It was given them, and to them it was given that they should not kill them, but that they should torment 5 months. And their torment was the torment of a scorpion when it striketh the man. And in those days men shall seek death, and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. Tell me, what the hell does that have to do with a helicopter or airplane? Nothing. Nothing at all. All right? So the Most High sent these locusts before. He's gonna send locusts again. All right. Now, if you don't believe that, that's fine. You know, that was last week. Greatly appreciate. Hallelujah. So that was last week's Torah portion. All right. So if you don't believe that, that's fine. You don't gotta be. All right. You don't gotta be. I'm a believer. I'm a believer. All right. And yes, Aqua, these creatures will obey the Most High. Okay, so man, I feel so disrespected that my own personal family isn't on here. All right, I literally just want to send out an invitation, and you know, I feel so disrespected that my own children can't see their father teach because the women are so hard-hearted. Man, may the portion of a sinner fall upon them. All right, and that's for anybody that wants to disobey the Most High. I don't have no discrepancy when it comes up to if you don't want to be obedient. I don't care if you're a man, woman, or child. I don't care. If you listen, I love those that love the Most High. All right. The Most High tells women, men, and children how we're supposed to honor each other. And if you don't do it, you blatantly show what side that you're on. All right. So don't come to me later with no foolery because you abandoned me from the beginning. Exodus chapter 10, verse 6, flat out. All right. Exodus chapter 10, verse 6. And they what? They, the locusts. Okay. Let me go back to screen share so everybody can see where we're at. I want you to be able to read and see with me, okay? And Tawada Aquaf Julie for Northern Kingdom, sister, for sharing that. All right, greatly appreciate. All right. So if you thought roaches was a problem, if you thought flies or mosquitoes or gnats was a problem, you ain't seen nothing yet. We haven't seen nothing yet. It's going to get way worse. Watch this. Exodus chapter 10, verse 6. And they shall fill thy houses and the houses of all thy servants and the houses of all the Egyptians, which neither thy fathers nor thy fathers' fathers have seen since the day that they were upon the earth unto this day. And he turned himself and went from Pharaoh. So this man turned his back on the president and walked out. And Pharaoh's servant said unto him, how long shall this man be a snare unto us? Let the men go that they may serve Yahweh, their Allahiyah. Knowest thou not yet the Egyptians that Egypt is destroyed? So they turn to Pharaoh. They say, Pharaoh, you don't recognize that Egypt is damaged? Egypt is finished. Egypt is finished. America's finished. This was the president of Egypt council members, his cabinet. They turned to him and said, President Trump, don't you notice that America's destroyed? Let these Israelites go. And these same plagues are coming again. All right. And Moshe said unto Aaron, and Moshe and Aaron were brought again unto Pharaoh. And he said unto them, go, serve Yahweh the Elohim. But who are they that shall go? So he says, yeah, y'all can go, but who all want to go? Watch this. And Moshe said, we will go with our young and with our old, our sons, and with our daughters, with our flocks and with our herds will we go. For we must hold a feast unto Yahweh. All praise the Most High. And that feast is coming up. That feast is Pesach. That feast is Passover. All right, which Pharaoh did not know that the feast that was going to be held was going to be the feast that was going to make him and his family cringe forever. And that was the feast that the Most High took the first breath out of every living male, woman, animal, firstborn. That was of the Egyptian household and of the Israelite household and of every other household that did not put that blood upon their doorposts, that did not do that offering unto the Most High, and that did not stay within their houses. I encourage you, women, remember Vashti and remember Lot's wife. I like to ask this question all the time. What was Lot's wife's name? If you think you got a name right now in Israel, ain't nobody going to remember you later. Nobody. You're going to be Lot's wife. They're going to be like, oh, yeah, brother Christ, yeah, that's a good brother. Oh, yeah, he had a baby with who? Who? Ain't nobody going to remember you because you're operating in the capacity of Lot's wife. And men of Israel, if you're operating in the capacity of Lot's wife and you want to keep looking back and turning back and you love the things of Babylon more than you love the law, statutes, commandments of the Most High, you're going to have the same portion. All right? Exodus chapter 10, verse, Exodus chapter 10, verse 10. And he said unto them, let Yahweh be so with you as I will let you go. And your little ones, look to it, for evil is before you. Not so. Go now, ye that are men, and serve Yahweh, for ye did desire, and they were driven out from Pharaoh's presence. And Yahweh said unto Moshe, stretch out thy hand over Matazadium of Egypt for the locusts, that they may come upon the land of Egypt and eat every herb of the land, even all that the hail has left. Now, why is that terrifying? Because when the hail fell the first time, when the hail fell the first time, the hail actually landed, and it was hail like dry ice, like fire. And when it hit the ground, whatever it broke into, it shattered. And whatever it shattered, it caught on fire. So this is why Egypt is no longer in the lustrous, lush land anymore. The Most High burnt it to nothing. All right, as the earth faileth when it feeleth the fire. Exodus chapter 10, verse 13. And Moshe stretched forth his rod over the land of Matazadium, and Yahweh brought an east wind upon the land all that day and all that night. And when it was morning, the east wind brought locusts. And the locusts went up over the land of Matazadium, and they rested in all the coast of Egypt. Very grievous were they. Before them, there were no such locusts as they, neither after them shall be such. Verse 15, for they covered the face of the whole earth, so that the land was darkened, and they did eat every herb of the land, and all the fruit of the trees which the hail had left. And there remained not any green thing in the trees, or the herbs of the field throughout all the land of Egypt. This is called a natural famine. So the Most High sent pestilence, and then the pestilence then ate everything, which caused the famine. But these next locusts that's coming will not have permission to touch any green thing, but they're going to damage people. I didn't even read the description of the locusts. They're not going to be helicopters that's going to come up and sting people. They're not going to be airplanes that's going to come up and sting people. But let's read the description of the locusts that's coming. Revelation chapter 6, verse 9. Make sure you write this down for yourself. All right. Revelation chapter 6, verse 9. And in those days shall men seek death. You know what that means? That means people are going to want to die. Watch this. And shall not find it. You know what that's called? That's called modern day zombies. Why do you think they're showing all these zombie movies today? People are going to seek death and not be able to find it. They shall desire to die. Look at this. And death shall flee from them. This means during this time frame, you're going to have maybe one of my wives will knock at my door like, and they face will be hanging down and be like, no, you see the blood over the doorpost? No, he kept the commandments around these parts. Shalom. Maybe one of my friends or one of my brothers or family members. Listen, it doesn't matter who. Maybe one of yours. Revelation chapter 9, verse 7. It reads, it says, the shape of the locust were like unto, look at this, like unto horses prepared unto battle. This is why people say that they're airplanes or helicopters. All right. And their heads were as if it were crowns of gold, and their faces as the face of men. Now, look, let me do this for y'all real quick. I've seen this breakdown, totally disagree with it. I'm going to continue to disagree with it. All right. Let me show y'all this real quick. And it might pull up some images, some stuff like that, but look there. Thank you. There we go. There we go. I want y'all to see this, and then I want you to compare for yourself. Not the terrible, creepy looking images, but these right here. This is what people say are the helicopters, and it says it has a tail like unto a scorpion. Look at this. If this ain't some Jehovah's Witness teaching, I don't know what it is. Now, you got all these other images that they're terrifyingly, ridiculously, creepy looking and all that other good stuff. But these are the ones that I wanted to look at. Excuse me, these are the only ones that I found. There we go. There we go. This is a good one. This is a good one. All right. Look, two types of locusts. One, modern day and fleeting. So they got a bunch of pictures of helicopters. And then they got a picture of locusts. So this says, one, ancients and eternal. So what they're trying to tell people is that the locusts that are going to come are going to be helicopters. I think that's super stupid. I do. I've always thought that. When I first heard it, I was like, yeah, I'm not buying it. I was like, yeah, no. Yeah, thank you, but All right. So look, so let's see if the description of these things are going to be helicopters. Revelation chapter 9, verse 7. And the shapes of the locusts were like unto horses prepared unto battle. So this is like an armored helicopter. And their heads were like as their heads were as it were crowns of gold. Explain that one. And their faces were as the faces of men. Now, what they've said was it's because they're in the helicopter, you can see the glass around. And remember, the visions that we seen back then ain't the visions that we see now. So they can only see the man inside the helicopter. And they thought that it was cool. No sweat. No sweat. Verse 8. And their hair was as the hair of women. Do helicopters have hair? That's the propellers, my brother. That's the propellers going around real fast because it's real long. So it's like the hair like women. Okay, no problem. And their teeth were like as the teeth of lions. I don't agree with that either. Let me show you a picture of what I've seen, what somebody tried to convince me of. And then you can see for yourself, all right? Well, it might not be this helicopter, brother, but it's an Apache because they used to paint up the Apaches to look like them. All right, you see for yourself. All right. And then you can be the judge. If you don't got to go with the way that the Most High is giving it to me to see, okay? All right. Blue Beetle, that was a really cool comic book. Here, let me pull this up. Eventually, we're gonna get. I know I spelled that completely wrong, but I so don't care right now. All right, I'm just like, I'm okay on it. I'm gonna let my Gentile personal assistant to correct it. I used to have a Blue Beetle comic book also. So this is the image. They said, this is what I've heard. All right, you might not have heard this. You're not gonna hear it from me. I'm not gonna teach that this and this, the teeth like lions, and this is why, and they had the faces like men. All right. I'm not gonna teach that. I'm just not, because it doesn't make sense to me. Like, I can see, yes, these do look like very terrifying machines. That's a scary, you don't want to see a bunch of them flying over your community and then dropping bombs and blah, 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 blah. You don't want that, all right? But when we go to the scriptures, look at this. And their hair was as the hair of women. Which part of them Apache helicopters had hair? And their teeth is as the teeth of lions. And this is where this came from. All right, because they used to paint them up and they would have teeth on them. All right, this one right here. All right, that one right there. But hold on. Verse 9, Revelations 9:9. And they had breastplates as if it were breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was as the sound of the chariots. They say that's the propeller sound, and many horses running into battle. Wait a minute. Verse 10. Let's get to verse 10. Let's see what it says. And they had tails like unto scorpions. Which one of these helicopters had tails like scorpions? Let's see. And there were stingers in their tails, and their power was to hurt men 5 days. First of all, we got to look at this. The Most High said that these specific locusts would have power to do what? It was given them, it was commanded that they should not hurt the grass of the earth. When have you known a helicopter to attack the grass? We got a grass, or this is our new military grass destroyer. And we're going to use this to destroy all the grass in Korea. We're not going to destroy the people. We're just going to destroy the grass. It doesn't make sense. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those which have not, only those men which have not the seal of Allahiyah on their foreheads. Look at this, man. Verse 10. All right, Revelation chapter 9, verse 10. And their tails was like unto scorpions that were, and there were stings in their tails, and their power was to hurt men 5 months. See, wait a minute. This is where it gets even worse. All right. This is where it gets even worse. I'm going to produce a word that's going to come next. It's an actual research facility that's all over the world now. It started in Switzerland. It's called CERN, CERN. Watch this. And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon. But the Greeks have his name as Apollyon. Let me show y'all this real quick. Abaddon and Apollyon has absolutely nothing to do with helicopters. Abaddon and Apollyon has nothing to do with mechanical devices, because remember, even the military, they're going to be destroyed. Every military is going to be destroyed when Yahushua comes back. So please don't think that these two things right here, all right. Let me get this real quick. I want y'all to see this. I'm just gonna. I hope this works. I haven't done it. I haven't searched it like this, but I've searched it before. All right. So I don't want you to think, for me, if your elder want to teach it to you, you know, and you're like, yeah, brother, it's gonna be helicopters that's gonna come from the bottomless pit from the earth. And the helicopters aren't going to destroy the grass or any green thing. The helicopters are only going to torture men and women for 5 months. And they're going to be helicopters. And they're going to be Apaches. Rock with it. If that's really what you think, then rock with it. All right? But me, I'm not going to teach you that. Watch this. As this pulls up, all right, Abaddon and Apollyon. These are two names. This is one name. This is two different names for one false deity. Now watch this. This is super easy to look up. This don't got nothing to do with no daggone helicopters. Nothing. Y'all see all this artwork? And some of y'all, listen, there's demons waiting on y'all, man. There's demons that are waiting on us already. Now watch this. Check this out. See what you think about this. Hey, I could be wrong. Who knows? All right. Abaddon, Apollyon, CERN. Okay. Now, what is CERN? CERN is a facility to where they've made a machine. It's called the Hydrogen Collider. They're smashing atoms together. So they try to find what's called the boson atoms or the boson Higgs, to where, and if I'm saying it correctly, if anybody knows, break it down for me. Check this out. Y'all see this statue right here? This is a statue of Abaddon. This is a statue of Apollyon. Look at this. Abaddon, Apollyon is doing the dance of destruction. That's why it's a ring of fire going around this demon. And it's standing on top of life. It's standing on top of life because it's taught that once Abaddon does the dance of destruction, then what it does is it creates life from its destruction. Now look, all you gotta do is type in CERN. Abaddon is the same as Apollyon, which is the same as the statue that's outside of CERN, which is a huge, look at this. It's a huge hydrogen collider, which is bigger than America. All right. This thing is bigger than the United States. And they have these machines all over the world. They're literally opening portals all over the world. And when we first started learning about CERN, look, here's another look at this. CERN, all right? Hydrogen collider is what it's called. Why is it called hydrogen collider? Because hydrogen is, water, and then they're colliding water together for the purpose of opening up portals. All right? This is for CERN, 666. You can't make this stuff up. Like, I didn't do this. Like, this isn't something that I was like, yo, I'm going to go do a research. Nah, it was just here. So this statue of Abaddon is outside, Apollyon is outside of CERN. Now, you can look this up for yourself. I'm going to stop right there because I really want to get back into the reading. All right. Not only that, if I keep going, it'll just take us further away from the reading. But let me finish this real quick. All right. That's the book of Revelations, chapter 9. You can look up Abaddon. Wait a minute. Here's another thing about the Temple of Abaddon. All right. So the Temple of Abaddon, guess where the Temple of Abaddon is located at? All right, here, let me pull it up for you so you can see it for your own eyes. The Temple of Abaddon is located in the same exact location from back in the day as it is now, which is the same place that they built it, that they're building CERN. All right. Hold on, let me pull this up, right? Oh, I should have put and then I should put location. Temple of Abaddon location. So when the Most High showed me this information, I feel so joyful now that I'm teaching the word, man. Wow, I feel wonderful. I feel joyful that I'm teaching the word of the Most High. Hallelujah. So the Temple of Abaddon, the location is in the exact same place that it was in the former years. And then when I went to Turkey, I was so amazed how frequent you seen the statue of the woman with all the breast, Aristotle. I was amazed at all the different idols, statues. This isn't pulling anything up, but images. So I'm not even going to waste y'all time with it. Maybe I'll do a different search another time. All right. But not only can you do it for yourself, you've been given the tools to do it. All right. So let me stop right there. Let's go back to this real quick. Let's take one step back. That's the locusts being ate up that the Canaanites had. The Most High put them plagues on them again. That's where we're going to be doing the gospel portion of that. Let's get back to this, okay? Because we haven't really made it too far, but we got a lot of information in a short time frame. So this is the book of Exodus, chapter 10, verse 16. And Masha called for Pharaoh, and Pharaoh called for Masha and Haran in haste. Why? Because these same locusts the Most High sent, which were not helicopters. Let's just say that. These locusts were not helicopters. These locusts were tearing up the land, all right? So watch what Pharaoh says. And Pharaoh called for Masha and Aharon in haste. And he said, I have sinned against Yahweh, you see that? Your power, and against you. Now, therefore, forgive, I pray thee, my sin only this once, and entreat Yahweh, your Allahaya, your power, that he may take away from me this death only. And he went from Pharaoh and entreated Yahweh. And Yahweh uh, turned a mighty strong west wind and took away the locusts and cast them into the Red Sea. And there remained not one locust in all of Matazadium of Egypt. All right, verse 20. But Yahweh, look at this. This is what we're dealing with in Israel right now. We're dealing with hardened hearts. We're dealing with hardened heart Israelites. But Yahweh hardened Pharaoh's heart so that he would not let the Yaladim of Yasha'Allah go, that he would not let the children of Israel go. And Yahweh said unto Moshe, stretch out thy hand toward heaven, that there may be what? That there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, even darkness which may be felt. Now this I'm going to stop at, because this is one of my favorite curses. This is one of my favorite plagues, because this darkness is utterly terrifying. All right. The darkness is so terrifying that, you know, that whenever a child, a man, a woman, whenever somebody tells me that they're afraid of the dark, I'm compassionate with them. Like, I understand why. Like, yo, I get that. Yo, I can see why you're afraid of the dark. It makes sense to me. All right, we're going to read about this darkness. Okay. Shalom. Let me see what the sister says. She said, Shalom Lakah Malakia. Okay. Shalom Lakah. Okay. The sister said, Julie White said, I received this. And then the sister Julie White said, artificial intelligence, maybe artificial intelligence, possibly. What we have to look at is we have to put the signs together. When we're talking about the locusts, we have to be able to say that these locusts have to all apply to what's written in the book of Revelation chapter 9. They have to come from the bottomless pit. It has to come from the temple of Abaddon. There has to be the sky that's darkened. Maybe the Matrix, right? That ran off of solar power, right? I don't know. See, that's a really good point. All right. People have been manufacturing, most of them, most of them need such teachings, if only their conscience of their ancestors. Okay, I agree. And the reason why I agree with you, all right, is because the Most High said, ask thy fathers and they will show thee, ask thy elders and they will tell thee. And that's why I agree with you. All right. Absolutely stupid. I do agree also. And then, yep, big laugh from Aliyah Shabai. I agree. So let me pull this up real quick. Darkness. Ugh. Darkness. Even to this day, you know, it's only my confidence in, you know, I don't know, in the Most High that's keeping me from afraid of darkness. We're going to go to the book of 2 Maccabees. We're going to go to the book of 2 Maccabees, and I believe it's chapter 2 or chapter 3. All right, 2 Maccabee, and this dude name was Heliodorus. Okay, Heliodorus was he was a Gentile from the Greek family. Greeks are Gentiles. Why? Because Greeks are not from the same bloodline of Jacob. The literal definition of a Gentile or a heathen or a stranger or an alien is anybody that's not of the 12 tribes of Israel. There's no way around it. You have to be from one of Jacob's children in order for you to not be a Gentile. And no matter how bad we might not like that, no matter how bad that might hurt somebody's feelings, no matter how bad that might hurt, it wasn't me that wrote that. It was the scholars of the ancient days that wrote that. It's just me that's repeating it. So forgive me if you don't like the way that that sounds, brother and or sister. But the European nation, the Asians, the East Indians, the Africans, the Arabs, none of these are Israelites. None of these are Israelites. They're all Gentiles. So there was a Gentile man whose name was Heliodorus. All right. Heliodorus is world renowned. He's popular. You can look him up just like you can look up Flavius Josephus. Okay. So Heliodorus, he was the first Gentile bank robber that came to rob Israel. And when he came to rob Israel, something terrible happened to him. All right. So we're going to start with the book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 3. And I encourage you all to not only write this down, but to look at this. All right. Look at this and teach this for yourselves. Okay, so I'm going to open up the screen share. All right, let's get this cracking real quick. Shalom to everybody that's building, that's watching with us. Y'all need to be aware of these curses because these curses are coming again. This isn't a storybook that we've read in the past and it just happened. This is something that's going to happen again. All right, so let's start our screen share real quick. All right, so we're in the book of 2nd Maccabees, and we're in the 2nd Maccabees chapter 3. Take this name down to note. Write this name down, Heliodorus. 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 Heliodorus is one of my favorite Gentiles. He's one of my favorites. You know why? Because he was repentative. Sometimes it takes you applying pressure to a person for them to actually see how wrong they were. Sometimes it takes you applying a belt up against a child's behind for that child to be like, I'm never going to do that again. But you got proud, you got arrogant, you got haughty, you got wicked people that haven't received any oppression. So therefore, they think they're free to do what they want to do. And they're not. We are not free to do what we want to do. And there's a recompense that's going to come. Heliodorus was repentative of his sin, but he was repentative of his sin because he was shrouded in that darkness. He was covered in that blindness. Watch this. This is the book of 2nd Maccabees, chapter 3, verse 23. Nevertheless, Heliodorus executed that which was decreed. Now, as he was there present himself with his guard about the treasury, the Lord of spirits, the prince of all power, caused a great apparition, so that all that presumed to come in with him were astonished by the power of Allahiah, and fainted and were sore afraid. And there appeared unto them, and horse with a terrible rider upon him, and adorned with a very fair covering. And he ran fiercely and smote at Heliodorus with his 4 feet. And it seemed that he that sat upon the horse had a complete harness of gold. Let me ask you scholars that's on here with us right now. Who do you know in the scriptures in the book of Revelation who has a harness of all gold? Who do you know in the book of Revelations, chapter 1, verse 14, 15, 16, who has a harness of all gold? Verse 26. Moreover, 2 other young men appeared before him, notable in strength, excellent in beauty, and comely in apparel, stood by him on either side and scourged him continually. The word scourge means to be beaten, means to be whipped. And scourged him continually and gave him many sore stripes. And Heliodorus fell into the ground and was compassed. Look at this. With great, look at this. 2 Maccabees chapter 3, verse 27. So in case you're not caught up to what's going on, let me bring you up to speed. There was a man who came to rob the treasury of Israel in the book of 2 Maccabees chapter 3. This was documented in history. 2 Maccabees chapter 3, verse 27 says that this man, Heliodorus, which was a real person, fell suddenly onto the ground and was, look at this, compassed with great darkness. Y'all see that? But they that were with him took him up and put him into the litter. So only Heliodorus was smitten with this darkness. And if you don't think that this darkness is real, we can follow the trail of this darkness from the book of Exodus to the book of Maccabees to the book of Wisdom of Solomon, all the way to the book of Revelation. All right. Yes, it's Shiva from CERN. It's Shiva at CERN. Shiva, absolutely. Shiva at CERN. Because Shiva is an androgynous East Indian false deity. Shiva is also Apollyon. Shiva is the same one that they put at the top. So absolutely. So that being said, I 1200% agree with you. Now watch this. This darkness can be followed. It can be found throughout history. Heliodorus was a victim of him himself. See? And not only, look, not only is this darkness found in Exodus, it's found in Wisdom of Solomon. It's also found in Maccabees, and it's found in the book of Revelations. It's found in the book of Revelations. So this tells you that this darkness is coming back. Like who are these people that are so disrespectful that they're not afraid of the Most High's judgment or the Most High's his punishments? Who are these people? Some of them you currently are, maybe your wives, maybe your husbands. You might be having sex with them. Well, guess what, brother? You can't just put her away for any cause. Except it be for fornication or adultery. So this darkness, it follows. So guess what, sister? You can't just leave your husband. Damn. Scripture's cut like a two-edged sword, boy, I tell you that. So this darkness is coming again soon. These are the plagues that the Most High has sent in the past, and he's going to send them again. But if you think that's it, if you think that's it, it's not over, because the darkness had way more than just, it was dark, I can't see. Imagine being stuck inside your own mind and you can't close your eyes because your eyes are already closed. But whatever you see still terrifies you. Imagine closing your eyes, and even when you close your eyes, the monsters are still in front of you. Why did I say monsters, you might ask? That brother Karatazaya going off. Where, let me show you why I use the word monsters. Everybody go to the book of Wisdom of Solomon. Man, we going deep. We going deep, man. And anybody that missed this, man, yo, shame on you. Your blood be on your own hands. All right, shame on you. You believe in some of the Bible, or you believe in Shalom? That's crazy. I'm in Chiapas, Mexico, and I hear the little Zeppelinites saying Shalom. That's crazy. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 17, verse 15. Look at this. They were partly vexed with monstrous apparitions, and partially fainted, their hearts failing them for a sudden fear, and looked not for came upon them. You don't know what a monstrous apparition is? Let's get the definition of it. All right. Does everybody remember that movie, The Ring? You remember the scene when the girl was in the closet and she was like, ah? Y'all remember that? What happened in the movie, The Ring? The woman was scared to death. And that's what the Most High did to the Egyptians. The Most High scared the people of Egypt to death. See? Wisdom of Solomon chapter 17 tells you perfectly what happened in the past and what's going to happen again. All right. You don't believe me? Watch this. I'm so not done. And the reason why I'm not done is because I actually expect others to not only know this, but to teach this so that the other people who hear it can be afraid. The Most High said, teach your children the fear of me. Look at this. Let's start screen sharing again. All right. So be careful. Don't fall off your couches. All right. Don't fall off your beds. All right. We're going to continue with the screen sharing. The water for everybody that's building with us. We've been building for about an hour and 30 minutes now. All right. Let's look at this. All right. So remember, the Most High said that they had monstrous apparitions. This is the darkness that's coming. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 17. And we're going to start at verse 15. Look at this. For fear is nothing else but the betraying of the sepulchres which reason offereth. All right. And the expectation from within being less counted the ignorance more, counted the ignorance more than the cause which bringeth the torment. But they sleeping that same night was indeed intolerable, and which came upon them out of the bottoms of an inevitable hell. were partly vexed with monstrous apparitions and partly fainted, their hearts failing them for sudden fear, and not looking for came upon them. For whatsoever were fell down was starkly kept, shut up in the prisons without iron bars. This is spiritual paralysis. This is like when you have sleep paralysis and you're so afraid that you can't move. Y'all remember the movie The Ring? Wow, look at that. Remember when a girl opened up the closet and she was in there, she was like, that's what happened. She was afraid to death. She tried to hide in her closet. This is what happened in Egypt. And they just told you the truth on the movies. You thought the movie Ring was made up, huh? This scene, this one right here. Excuse me. The girl was scared to death. And that's what happened to the Egyptians. We're not making none of this up. Like, all of this is real. Look, let's get this real quick. Watch. I know it's probably 2 F's in definitions. I don't care. All right. Doing what I'm supposed to do. I let my Gentile assistant take care of the rest. All right. Apparition. Look at this. Apparition, phantasm, a phantom are terms of supernatural appearances. I just read to you in the book of Wisdom of Solomon that there were monstrous apparitions. So while you being a wicked, a silly poo-poo caca head, and while you playing, guess what? There's monstrous apparitions that's waiting to attack you. There's monstrous apparitions that's going to pay you back for your wickedness. So it's better just to be good. I want to be good. So when it's time for me to go to the Most High, I can glow and I can shine. And I can be like, yo, it wasn't it wasn't anything that had to do with me, but that I gave up myself, that I allowed myself to. And man, salute to you, daughters of Israel, that allow yourselves to be hurt, that allow yourselves to be corrected. I can't stand a disrespectful, shameless dog. And y'all know the definition of a shameless dog in the Bible. Everybody knows it. There's probably children watching right now, so I don't have to say it. The same definition for a shameless dog is the same terminology that's used for the word wife. So salute to all of you ribs and all of you women of Israel that are honorable, that are respectful to your husbands, all right? And you might not have the husband that you think that you should have, but that's the husband that the Most High gave you. So be honorable, all right? Be respectful to your head, all right? So that you don't come into the portion of being a shameless dog, okay? Man, I got a splinter in my finger, man. I got to try to get it out, man. How wonderful it would be to have somebody help me, man, just to get a splinter out my finger. All right, so let's get back to this. Did you mean monstrous apparitions? Let's see what apparition means by itself, but even without the word monstrous. All right. Both phantasm denote an illustrative appearance as in a dream. Look, the former may be pleasant while the latter is usually frightening. Phantasm of loveliness, a monstrous phantasm. Now, all you got to do is look up the word monstrous. So what does that tell you? That tells you that the things that's going to, what expecting that? So that tells you the things that's going to be seen in the past are going to be seen again. All right. So the Most High says that they were what? They fell down, was straitly kept, shut into the prison, in a prison without iron bars. For whether he was a husbandman or a shepherd or labored in the field, he was overtaken and endured the necessity which could not be avoided. Y'all see that? So the Most High says there's no getting away from it. Isn't that terrible? There's no getting away from it. I'm going to pull up Heliodorus. All right. And then I'll go to Heliodorus another time. Why are we pulling up Heliodorus? Because Heliodorus was a Gentile man that actually experienced this. Now, hold on. Let me go back to 2 Maccabees chapter 3. All right, because I want to show y'all this, okay? 2 Maccabees chapter 3, Heliodorus. Man, it sucks, man, having a splinter in my hand like this. Man, it hurts so bad too. 2 Maccabees chapter 3. Now, after Heliodorus experienced this being beaten, all right, while he was in the darkness, he was being beaten. All right, you understand that? While he was being beaten, he was also being terrified. Watch this. We're in the book, and I'm still screen sharing. If we are, I pray that everybody's watching. I pray that everybody's learning. Yes, we are. We're still screen sharing. Let's get this. Heliodorus, and I respect, if you're afraid, I understand being afraid of the dark. The Most High made the darkness. You don't know what's in the dark. You don't know. But you want to be so proud and so arrogant, so haughty and so puffed up that you think you're safe. The Most High protects us from the creeping things when we're asleep. And I'm not even talking about bugs. I'm talking about the creeping apparitions that are around us every day. Like the elder Nick Nyala, he prays for us. He prays for the things seen and unseen. Watch this. This is the book of 2 Maccabees. Excuse me. 2 Maccabees chapter 3. And verse 27. And Heliodorus fell suddenly onto the ground and was encompassed with a great darkness. But they that with him took him up and put him into a litter. Now, after Heliodorus, this goes terribly bad for Heliodorus. It just doesn't get better. All right. So in the end, this is what Heliodorus did. And how do I know this? Because I read it for myself, man. Shame on you, wicked Negroes. Shame on you, wicked women that are dishonorable. Shame on you. All right. So Heliodorus, after he had offered sacrifice unto Yahweh and made great vows unto him that had saved his life, which was the Levite priest, and saluted Onias. Heliodorus said, Yahweh, Bahasham, Hamashiach, Hawashi, Barakatah, Most I bless you, Most I bless you. Okay, Shalom, 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 Yashra'Allah, Shalom. Watch this. Verse 36, then testified he to all men the great works of Elohim, which he had seen with his eyes. That's the problem. Yahweh Shai say, oh, ye faithless generation. The problem is that y'all haven't seen, we haven't seen the terrible things the Most High can and will do. And we still choose to misbehave. I think somebody just gave me great encouragement to be a better teacher today. I think that's all that happened. I think all that happened was I had some spiritual haters come up against me, spiritual haters. Whether you male or some Gadites, I had some spiritual Gadite haters come up against me and just help me to be a better teacher today. That's all that happened, man. Let me get back to this. So I'm feeling good. Feeling good like the Hebrew should. All right. Blessed by the best. I ain't feeling no kind of badness, man. I'm feeling wonderful. Watch this. Verse 37. And when the king Heliodorus, what? And when the king Heliodorus, who might, it should say asked. And when the king asked, is what it should say, Heliodorus, who might be fit a man sent yet once again to Jerusalem, he said, now watch what Heliodorus said. These are his words after he was smitten with the darkness. If thou hast an enemy or a traitor. You see that? Let's start it off right there. So that's the first thing. What you mean if I got an enemy or a traitor? If thou hast an enemy or a traitor, send him thither, and thou shalt receive him well scourged, if he escape with his life. For in that place, no doubt, is a special power of Elohim. For he that dwelleth in heaven hath his eye on that place, and defendeth it. And if he beateth and destroyeth him, and he beateth and destroyeth them that come to hurt it. You know what he's talking about? He's talking about our home, Jerusalem. And these things concerning Heliodorus and the keeping of the treasury fell out on this sort. Flat out. Flat out. So if you don't believe me, oh wells, hell's bells. Too bad for you. I'm going to do my research on Heliodorus later. I'm going to do some more research. Heliodorus is one of my favorite Gentiles. That somebody give a round of applause for the boy Heliodorus. Heliodorus is one of my favorite Gentiles. that are in history, and the reason being is because that's right, Matt Scott. I see you, King. Hallelujah. I see you, Julie. That's right. It's worthy of being so. That's right. Big eyes open wide. That's right, Matt Scott, man. Double honor to your father, double honor to your mother. What do we see? All right. We see the terminology, apparition, ghosts, spirits, shalom, and may the Most High comfort your household during this time of grief. Man, I appreciate you, but I'll be honest with you. My own household has given me affliction. It's been the children of Israel that's not of my household that have been actually more of a blessing to me, man. So I greatly appreciate you and all the other family members that are of Yasha'Allah that's been helpful and assertive. There's a few family members that's been good. There's been a few family members that's just showing their letting their wickedness show, and the Most High is going to repay them. All right, so with that being said, I greatly appreciate you. So the water, thank you, King. So when we look up the details of the curses that the Most High is bringing, all right, the Most High is going to bring, we see that these plagues, these conditions are coming back. It's not over. It's not like the Most High is a one trick. He's a one trick pony. Like, ta-da! My pony ate a carrot. Man, see, hold on one second. So it's not like the Most High, he doesn't have control of everything. All right. It's not like it's not like these things really don't exist, because they do. All right. But not only do they exist, he's in control of them. All right. So we're in trouble. And that's the thing to keep our minds on. Yo, we're in trouble. We're in trouble because there's something that's coming that's worse than what we've ever experienced. The coming of the day of the Lord is going to be the worst day on human history. It's going to be worse than the dinosaurs. Dinosaur asteroid came down 30 million years. The dinosaur. It's going to be worse. That was my dinosaurs being frozen in ice. It's going to be worse than that. There's no escaping the coming of Yahushua. All right. And this is what we really need to be focusing on while we're reading about these plagues. This is something terrifying that we need to be teaching our children. I'm so ashamed that my family, my children that I've been raising here, I don't care if the woman don't like me, it's not my friend. I don't care. Somebody going to. I don't care. What I do care about is that the children that the women say that they love, they would hide the truth from them by not allowing the husband or the father to be taught. That's a shame. That's a terrible, wicked, nasty shame. Shame on you. By Shema Mashiach Yahushua. I want y'all to see this because it's not over with. Not only is it not over, it's going to get worse. You can look up this word darkness all throughout the Bible. This word darkness has been there for a long time. All right. I guess since the beginning of words. All right. All right. Chashach. All right. Chashach is the word for darkness. All right. So the Most High tells us the people that walk to the darkness that we will see a great light. All right. So we will be brought out of darkness. But this darkness is going to come again. And that's something to be very afraid of. Okay. This is the book of Zephaniah chapter 1 and verse 15. I want everybody to notice, write this down, and be very afraid, okay? Zephaniah chapter 1 and verse 15. It says, the day of Yahweh is the day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress. You have trouble, wrath, and distress. Does anything sound good about those three words? Wrath? No. No. Wrath doesn't sound like you want to give me a hug. You might want to give me a vigorous throat massage, but it don't sound like I want to give you a real vigorous throat massage. But it don't sound like you really want to help me. Trouble, that's not a good word. Wrath, distress, that's not a good word. The day of Yahweh is a day of wrath, a day of distress, a day of trouble, distress, a day of wasteness and desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess, and a day of thick, dark clouds. This is the same darkness that we sing. It's all throughout the Bible. You can't make this stuff up, and it's not hidden from us. So anybody who chooses to not be afraid, that's on them. They might not like the messenger whose mouth is coming out of, but the fact of the matter is the Most High still say he's going to do it. from Genesis to Revelations. You can read through the pages, and it's right there. Watch this. Revelation chapter 8, verse 12. Revelation 8:12, and it reads, and the fourth angel sounded, and the third part of the sun was smitten. Doesn't that sound terrible? The third part of the sun was smitten. Have you ever heard of the sun? Let me look this up real quick. Have you ever heard of the sun not having, light? I mean, I guess that's what the sun does. Have you ever heard that? Did y'all know that Donald Trump, Bill Gates, did y'all know that Bill Gates is currently working on a project that will cover, they're basically working on Skynet. And I forgot the name of it, but Bill Gates is currently working on a plan to where they're talking about want to blot out the sky. All right. Let me show you this. This is pretty cool, interesting information. Certain stuff that I like to look up, man, I just be like, oh wow, that's pretty interesting. That's cool. All right. So if you didn't think it was possible, let me show you this. All right. You see these images right here? Sun blows its top is what this is called, okay? Sun blows its top from the core of the sun, from the middle of the sun, a portion of the sun blew out. A portion, I'm not making this stuff up. A portion of the sun had a solar flare that was so magnanimous that there's a whole dark section of the sun. You can find it right here in Discover magazine. All right, look, I'm not making this stuff up. So we don't know how much longer we have until the sun actually goes into its form of doing what the scripture said it's going to do. The sun is going to be darkened. We don't know how much time frame we have. See? Look at this, Revelation chapter 8, verse 12. And the fourth angel sounded the third part of the sun was smitten, and the third part of the moon, and the third part of the stars. And some might say, well, this is okay, well, cool. Watch this. And the third part of them were darkened, and the day shone not forth, not for the third part of it, and the night likewise. So there's a darkness that's even coming. That's just a little bit. There's the darkness that's coming. So I feel better, man. I feel this morning I was really vexed. I was really stressed. I believe that there were certain evil spirits that wanted to upset me. And I'll just say shame and woe unto them, for their wickedness, man. And salute to all of the wonderful, patient, loving, kind, humble spirited daughters of Israel and men of Israel, man. It's been so very helpful. I want to get this splinter out my finger so bad. Oh, but the more I do it, the more it hurts. Okay. All right. So let's get back to this. Darkness over the land. We're in the book of Exodus, chapter 10, verse 21. And Yahweh said unto Moshe, stretch out thy hand towards heaven, and that there may be darkness over the land, even darkness which may be felt. And Moshe stretched forth his hand toward heaven, and there was a thick darkness in the land of Egypt 3 days. So they saw not one another, neither arose any from his place for 3 days. So as we read in the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 17, wherever that person was, whenever they felt that darkness, that's where they were stuck at. They were stuck in that position for 3 days in darkness. But look at this. But all the children of Israel had light in their dwellings. Hallelujah. And Pharaoh called unto Moshe and said, go ye, serve Yahweh, only let your flocks and your herds be stayed. Let your little ones also go with you. So what do we see? We see the first time Pharaoh was like, all the men of Israel, you go, but your women and your children stay behind and your flocks. Then Pharaoh said, after the Most High sent the destruction, which the destruction killed off all of their herds, all of their flocks. Then Pharaoh says, now all of you men, women, and children, and take your animals and get the heck out of America, Egypt. And Moshe said, Thou must give us also sacrifices and burnt offerings, that we may sacrifice unto Yahweh Allahaya. Our cattle also shall go with us. There shall not a hoof be left behind, for thereof must we take to serve Yahweh Allahaya. And we know not, and we know not with what we must serve Yahweh until we come thither. But Yahweh hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he would not let him go. And Pharaoh said unto him, Get thee from me, take heed to thyself, see my face no more. For in the day that thou seest my face, thou shalt die. Next time you see me, I'm going to kill you, nigga. That's exactly. And Moses was a Levite, just like Pharaoh was a Canaanite. So the next time you see me, I'm going to kill you. Exodus chapter 10, verse 29. And Masha said, Thou hast spoken well. I will see thy face again no more. Isn't that beautiful? Repeat after me. Kal Asherah, the body of Yahweh, Na'isha, Wa Nashemai. All that Yahweh has said, will we do and hear. All praise to God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We just got through with reading Exodus chapter 10. All right, I'm going to stop this video, and then we're going to come back in an hour and 45 minutes. I think it's a good time. About an hour chemtrails, about an hour time frame is a good time frame for a lesson. About 45 minutes, people start losing their attention. I can continue to go, but some people don't have that endurance. So it might be good for you to get up, stretch your legs. Some of you might have no booty. You might be flat butt, just like me. I'm a flat butt man. I don't got like no big rumpa dumpa bumpa bump. So whenever I sit down for too long, you know, it's uncomfortable. So some of you might also have the same condition. Some people have high arches in their feet. Some people have flat feet. Flat feet. So with that being said, we're going to stop this video right here where we are. Hour 45 minutes. 45 minutes is a good time to take a break. We will come back with the rest of this video and the rest of this reading. And with that being said, I'm going to salute everybody. We got our brother Matt Scott says, sound like demolition coming from. I like that. I like that. I like that. Demolition coming from the carpenter. That's right. That's fly. Yo, I've never thought about that. Like, I've never considered that. Demolition coming from the master carpenter. Yo, that's fly. Yo, he built it. He coming to tear it down, right? Like, yo, that's hard. Yo, I've never considered that. So, anywho, the water for that, Matt Scott, man. Chemtrails. Yo, the chemtrails. You talking about You're talking about what I mentioned too, as far as what's his name, Bill Gates doing, talking about blotting out the sky. All right, I'm going to look that information up. About the time I come back, the Most High's will, we'll be able to go over it again. This is a wonderful reading. We just did Exodus chapter 10. We'll come back 11, 12, 13. It's only 3 chapters in this week's Torah portion. All right, so I encourage everybody to study to show yourselves approved. And with that being said, the water for building with us. Shalom. Look up these curses. All right, look up Heliodorus. Look up that darkness, okay? Look up them locusts. Are they helicopters? I think not. All right. All right, with that being said, I feel so much better. All right, the water for everybody for building with us. All right, the scripture says, Isaiah chapter 8, verse 20, to the law and to the testimony. And they speak not on this wise, it is because there is no light in them. All right. So speak according to the laws of the Most High and the testimony of His Son. Flash Gordon, the Most High's will. I'll see you in a little bit. All right. Shalom Lakam. Chemtrails. Nice one.